Good morning, Devils fans. It is July 13th, which means we are officially over halfway through development camp. But before I get into that a little later on into the video, I did want to discuss some happenings around the league, including current and former Devils. So to start off, we can officially say bye to Bo, as he has signed a 1-year, $775,000 one-way contract with the Boston Bruins, which at the end of which he will still be an RFA with arbitration rights. I think this is a great deal for Boston, very low risk. Now it is one way, which almost guarantees he is going to be a full-time NHLer, which was probably part of a sticking point with him returning to us. Bo is basically going to be a guaranteed bottom six, if not a guaranteed fourth line player here, and just would not have had the opportunity and ice time to show what his full skill set is capable of. So I have absolutely no ill will towards him for betting on himself, probably taking a little less money on a 1-year deal than he would have gotten in some other places. Because in Boston, he's going to get that ice time. He's possibly even a top six player there, at worst, middle six. And this is just a way for him to show the skill set that he does have. He scored 10 goals last year, even in a fairly limited role with us. And Boston gets a depth, cheap piece, which they absolutely need on that team if they want to keep competing as Boston always does. So I'm really rooting for Bo, except for obviously when he plays with us. He gets to reunite with Zaka a bit up there in Boston. And really, I think this kind of works out for all parties involved, as, like I said, him coming here, he just would not have had the opportunity, and this will let him show to the rest of the NHL, hey, I'm a good player. I can play in this type of role. Let me show that off in Boston and see what next year brings. Beyond that, I actually just learned yesterday about the Beauty League, where our boy Eric Holla scored a goal in this yearly summer tournament. Apparently, it's been going on since 2015. It takes place every year in Minnesota. And there's actually quite the crop of current and former NHLers that play in this every year. Obviously, it's not the same guys every single season there, but they do rotate in and out. Every year is going to be a little bit different. I'll actually drop a link to their website that goes over more about the league, who's involved, how it started, and all of that down in the description. For those that are interested, there are multiple ways to watch this tournament. It is happening over the next, I believe, 7 weeks over the summer. So if you are absolutely dying for hockey, this is probably going to be your fix. You can stream it online as well. And I do believe there are cable options with that for those of you who have not cut the cable quite yet. So definitely check that out. Eric Hall is there. I don't believe there is any other Devil, but he's doing quite well, and it's great for him. I'll probably check this out when I am really, really needing that fix myself. Last little check-in on current Devils is going to be with our boy Timo. This week he's holding his own development camp for kids over in Switzerland. If you saw any of the videos on that, they're all wearing Devils gear. Of course, obviously Timo himself as well. And me and the other Devil Advocates guys were checking some of the analytics, and probably not too unbelievable, the top 3 countries that tune into our content are the United States, Canada, and Switzerland. We are basically the bastion of Swiss hockey over here in the NHL. Nico, Timo, Siegenthaler, and Schmid. So really, with those guys, with the contracts they have with us, with the ages they're at, and just how prominent they are in Switzerland for hockey, we're going to have an entire generation of Swiss kids that are going to grow up Devils fans. And I think that is great. Going worldwide with this team, we know, is a big thing. We've always been a pretty big European-type team, with Patty, obviously. So having these ambassadors and almost being the face of Switzerland hockey over here in the NHL will do absolute work as far as growing the game and growing our team across the world. Only other real note of any former Devils is Tomas Tatar is still out there without a contract. It does sound like he has multiple offers, though, and he's just weighing where exactly he wants to go. No surprise to me. There was no way he wasn't going to be offered a contract. Even if you're a team that is looking to be in the playoffs and you're a little hesitant on his playoff play, if you're that bubble team like we were supposed to be last year, you want this guy. He's a absolute stud in the regular season. So again, no surprise he's getting contract offers. I am very excited to see where he ends up. Hopefully it's outside of the Metro, as I really don't want to have to deal with him in the regular season. So now we can move on to the 3-on-3 tournament that happened yesterday at our development camp. Across the board, it seemed like Hamin Aho was the standout player. This is coming from our media friends and people I know that were at the tournament, including JP and BP, who were both there. So I'm going to actually save a lot of the in-depth on ice 3-on-3 analysis for our podcast we'll be recording later tonight, as they were actually there to watch. And obviously we had no stream, so really from home all I got was some clips, watching Twitter feeds, and just seeing other people's thoughts. So I can't wait to ask them a little bit more questions to see what they saw with their eye test, especially from JP, who's much more the analytical guy. Can't wait to see what his eye test told us. So again, Hamin Aho was the standout player. His Team Stevens won the entire tournament. And along with him, Schleine had 4 goals in the finals as one of the other standout players. Another one of their teammates, Brendan Fitzgerald, gave us another incredible little soundbite as Christy Flanagan asked him some further one-on-one questions, and he yet revealed that he felt awful that he left off another one of his favorite Devils, as he grew up a Devils fan, and that was Andy Green, which to me is awesome. Andy is obviously not the headline star flashy player at all. He was a true stay-at-home shutdown defenseman, and I truly loved Andy, captain of our team, absolute stalwart back there for us. And while he definitely did not, I think, get the praise he deserved for the most part on our team, especially in the later years, that wasn't really Andy's fault, as our depth was awful and we played him way above where he should have been. He was a full flight top line guy, where he was probably much more of that third, fourth defenseman, and he would have thrived more on that second line type role. But instead, he was a bit more treading water. Obviously, he still had absolute standout moments, even in those later years on the top line. But again, I just don't think Devils fans really remember quite fondly how good Andy really was. And I'm glad to see that, especially obviously someone from a hockey family like Brendan can recognize the great play that Andy brought to us. Again, trying to keep it more off ice on this 3-on-3, as we're going to get into the on ice stuff with the podcast later. But a lot of the comments we heard from the prospects was just how great the turnout was from the fans. You love to see that from these guys, just kind of this new experience for a lot of them, especially the first time guys showing up here, that I was surprised at how many people actually showed up for this 3-on-3 tournament. So they can really show and feel the love that us fans here have for even just our prospects at a tournament where we don't have our big name. There's no Nemec at this one. There's no Luke. There's no Jack. There's no big star coming in that is new in the league that is really going to drive turnout to these things, and we still packed the house completely. Another thing that really seemed to blow the players away was their events from the previous night, going to the hospital, but really also the boat tour around, seeing the skyline, getting to experience Jersey and what we have to offer. For a lot of these guys, it was their first time in the country, as well as obviously in our state and seeing the city. So again, just really giving them that experience of what they can expect going forward if they were to make the end roster of the New Jersey Devils. The other thing I can't wait to hear from our other correspondents was how the signing event went. This is a great experience for both fans and players. A lot more hands-on, face-to-face type interactions, and those are where you really form a lot of memories, especially for younger Devils fans. And I love that the team does this, even for these prospects who maybe some of them turn into something, maybe some of them don't. But again, just a great overall experience for all parties involved. And I hear, from what I have heard, it was just a great night for everyone that ended up at the rink. And I know I cannot wait to actually watch some of this on-ice stuff come Friday with the 5-on-5 tournament. So definitely make sure to check that out yourselves. That's really going to do it for today's episode. Can't wait to see if anything actually happens in the NHL today. We thought some dominoes were going to drop once DeBrincat was moved, and that has not really happened. So we'll see if anything comes out today. And if it does, or if it doesn't, I'm going to be here regardless, talking to you guys tomorrow morning. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and let's go Devils.